in our unit of solving equations, you're going to solve one step through multiplying and dividing. That is our learning target. So we have to recall that in order to solve means get a variable by itself. And in order to get a variable by itself, you have to move things away from it. In order to move things away, you have to apply inverse operations. So I always, in my head, when I solve, I always just state the problem with the operation. So 8x means 8 times x equals negative 24. How do you get rid of times? Yep, the inverse of times is divide. Show it with a fraction bar, not a division symbol. That's the proper etiquette. Don't show it with a division symbol. And x equals then a negative 3. Now a lot of this is mental math that you can do in your head. It's about building that strong algebraic foundation where you know how to apply inverse operations, because we're going to get to very intense problems, and in order to be successful with the large problems or more advanced, we have to have a strong foundation here. Okay. Negative 3y equals negative 12. We divide through by a negative 3, because that's negative 3 times y. Y then equals a positive 4. When you have two negatives, it turns to positive. 6t equals negative 66. That means 6 times t. In order to move times again, we divide by what's in front. T equals negative 11. And it's negative because you have one negative. 11m equals 121. That's 11 times m. In order to get rid of times, you have to divide. And you get m is equal to 11. Nothing too shabby here. Multiplying and dividing, the multiplying ones are always, to me, easier than the adding and subtracting ones, because you can do them so fast. Okay, here we have negative x over 5 equals negative 30. To get rid of negative 5, this is like a negative 5, I put the negative with the 5. So this is x over means divide. So to get rid of divide, we're going to multiply. So I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 5. That cancels out the negative 5, I'm left with x equals a positive 150. X over 9, that means x divided by 9. To get rid of divide, you multiply. Gets rid of the 9. You're left with x equals, when you have 9 quarters, how much money do you have? 225. Negative 225. Negative x over 3 equals negative 7.2. Okay, this is slightly more rigorous. This is actually a two-step equation. I'm going to show you how to handle this. I get rid of the 3 by multiplying. So now I have to do 7.2 times 3 is 21.6. So I did a little side math there, and you get what's left is this negative x equals negative 21.6. This is really negative 1 times x. So you have to get rid of that negative 1. So in order to get rid of a negative 1, you would divide by negative 1, which is really just changing that sign. So x is equal to a positive 21.6. X over 5 is equal to 14 hundredths. To get rid of the divide by 5, you multiply by 5. I do a little side math here. And you get 0.70. X is equal to 0.70. So you just need to understand that when it looks like the X is the numerator, to get rid of that, you multiply through by that denominator. Now we're just going to move to fractions. Okay. If there is a whole number, make a 1 on the bottom. So if there is a whole number, make a 1 on the bottom. When you're dealing with fractions, you just want to make them both fractions. It makes your life much easier. So if it's a whole number, make a 1 on the bottom. And then to get rid of a fraction, you want to be able to cancel things out. Then you want things on the diagonal. So to make things on the diagonal, you multiply through by the reciprocal. Okay, so 10 equals negative 2/3 n. Step 1, I'm going to put a 1 on the denominator. Okay, now I'm going to multiply through by the reciprocal. Remember it's negative, so I'm going to multiply through by negative 3/2. It's hard to show my math there, but what happens is all this cancels out. So I need to multiply this side by 3/2 as well, because algebra says what you do to one side, you must maintain the equality and do it to the other. What did I do there? Yep, I cross simplified. Top times top over bottom times bottom. So negative 15 equals n. Okay? Next. This one's a little easier. I don't like my variable on the right-hand side. It makes me, what I truly do, just to show you quick, what I usually do for this one, this first one, 10 equals negative 2/3m. I flip it right away so I can have my variable on the left. Because for some reason my variable on the right gets me all, it just makes me feel stressed. So then I times through by the reciprocal and I solve it that way. That's equivalent because equality is clearly commutative, meaning you can flip it. Okay, 1 on the denom, because it's a whole number, times through by the reciprocal. Again, we times through because we want to cancel out the numbers in front. Cross simplifying, top times top over bottom times bottom. Okay, there's a trick here that I want to show you. If you don't like the reciprocal, that you can use. I tend to use it all the time. If you recall, any fraction is a division problem. This fraction right here is saying 5 divided by 9 times x. 5 divided by 9 times x. So you could break this apart first. So how I do it for the trick way is I get rid of the bottom number. It's 5 divided by 9. To get rid of divide, what do? Multiply. So I could multiply both sides by 9. And I get negative 45 is equal to, notice that canceled out. Now I have 5x. And then how do I get rid of that 5? 5 times x, how do you get rid of times? Divide. Negative 9 equals x. I like this strategy better than reciprocal. I think that it looks neater. But you can't do this strategy here. If you have two fractions, you have to keep it as as fractions. There's nothing you can do. Times through by the reciprocal. X equals, can't cross simplify, so top times top over bottom times bottom. Oh, it's 1. Whoopsies. Okay, and then you can simplify that more. 3 goes into 40 how many times? 12? No, 13. 13 times 3 is 39. So 13 times 1 remains, 3 as the denominator. I want you to practice the trick real quick that I showed you. So take your whiteboards out and write this problem down. Okay, so I'm just going to model through the trick quick. The trick says to get rid of the bottom number first. The bottom number is representing division. This is 4 divided by 5. To get rid of divide, you multiply both sides. That cancels out the 5. I'm left with 4x equals 20. And then you can easily solve x then is 5. You could multiply through by the reciprocal, but right now I want you to practice this trick. Okay, let's do another one utilizing the trick. Negative 2/3 x equals 12. Timesing through by that bottom number. I have a negative 2 left. To get rid of times, I'm going to divide. X is a negative 18. Okay? Negative 1/4x equals 6. Solve. Okay, getting rid of the bottom number. Getting rid of the negative 1. X then would be negative 24.